What's up, guys and girls? It's Jesse Daily. Welcome back to Daily Weather. Thank you so much for being here. My friends, we have Tropical Storm Alvin out in the eastern Pacific. We're going to take a quick look at Alvin and what this may mean for individuals that are in Baja California and the Mexico area here. Let's take a quick look at Alvin right now. He is the first storm of the 2025 season, specifically the Eastern Pacific hurricane season, which began on May 15th and will run through November 30th. By the way, the Atlantic hurricane season begins on June 1st and also runs through November 30th. So as of right now, we have Tropical storm. Well, actually, I should say 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Tropical storm Alvin is packing winds of 40 miles per hour and is moving northwest at about 10 miles per hour. The chickens are going crazy. I'm in the Caribbean, so you hear chickens a lot. I mentioned that in many of my videos. My friends, there are a couple of things to know here that I just want to show you. As we can see, the system is expected to remain a tropical storm before potentially running into some unfavorable environmental atmospheric conditions that will hopefully inhibit further development of this system as it moves toward the Baja Peninsula here. So let me just show you what the forecast discussion says. And it mentions here, Alvin should continue to strengthen today, which is Thursday, May 29th, within a favorable environment of warm sea surface temperatures and low wind shear for about the next 24 hours. The National Hurricane Center peak intensity remains at 50 knots. That's around 60 miles per hour. Weakening is expected to begin on Friday as the storm moves into progressively higher wind shear and a drier environment with cooler sea surface temperatures. There's high confidence that the system will weaken to a remnant low before it nears the Baja California Peninsula. So that's some good news for our friends out in the Baja area. It doesn't mean that there's no threats from this. Of course, there's going to be likely a bunch of rain and potentially some wind, and hey, it could strengthen. Nothing is guaranteed, so we got to keep a close eye on it. But that is the latest as of right now. Anyway, this is Tropical Storm Alvin. So it's a pretty big storm. You can see the it's definitely strengthening as we can as we're watching this. As you see these darker areas, those are very, and the pink too, those are high cloud tops, indicative of strong thunderstorms that have built up very high into the atmosphere. So it is strengthening right now, which is in line with what the National Hurricane Center expects before it may encounter some wind shear and some drier air. So that is what's going on with Tropical Storm Alvin. So if you live in this area, make sure that you are following this closely. My friends, finally, I want to show you over here the Atlantic and Caribbean. And again, as of Thursday, May 29th at 1:21 p.m., which was just a few minutes ago, actually, there is no cyclonic development expected over the next 7 days. This is a look at the global forecast system, again, from courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com. I'm right in this area, the Caribbean. We're just going to take a look here into the future. This is June 1st. High pressure is dominating across the Atlantic. By the way, we're going to be getting some Saharan dust, which can dust that comes off the west coast of Africa, moves across the Atlantic and inhibits or arrives across the Caribbean and can inhibit cyclonic development due to dry air. So we're not really seeing much develop on this run of the global forecast system. However, by the time we get to around June 9th, we do see something come together here in the Western Caribbean and potentially impact Florida. So this is very early out, my friends, so don't read into this too much. Development in the Western Caribbean is in line with what I showed you in my previous video on the most recent global tropics hazards outlook, we could see some development in the Western Caribbean into the month of June here. So we'll keep a close eye on everything. As always, my friends, make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and as always, I will keep an eye on the tropical skies come rain or shine. Thanks so much for watching.